What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here for UnScripted episode number 114 for your Sunday, Easter Sunday, April 12th, 2020. We have a lot to talk about this week because Wrestlemania, PC Mania, whatever you want to call it, was last week. It was too big for one night, too big for one review. So that's why there was no UnScripted last week. There will be this week, next week, and so on and so forth. For the rest of the year, hopefully, minus, of course, the one that I go at the end of the year. Let's get this one out of the way immediately. The XFL is dead. Done, gone, is not coming back. The XFL had 5 games. 5 weeks. 5 weeks. That is half the season. That is half. And it sucks to say it. 20 games down, 20 to go. The XFL did everything right. 2 years to get everything right. It took 2 years to do what the AAF and the original XFL did not do. Do the due diligence, get the right men and women in there, get this thing going. Even having Arthur Luck be the head figure that you would see, even though Vince McMahon was writing the checks. And COVID-19, this bullshit that we're going through right now, which is well overblown, which people are too stupid still not to realize that. But anyway, at the end of, when halfway through the break between week 5 and week 6, NBA shut down, NHL shut down, MLB stopped spring training, but pushed themselves back to start the season. Every single sport out there shut down. XFL as well. They postponed their season and then eventually 2 or 3 weeks later canceled the rest of the season. Well, earlier this week, people who put their money for their season tickets for this year towards next year were refunded that money. The XFL made it sound like, oh, well, we know people are going to be cash strapped because of everything that's going on. We want you to have that money. When in reality, a few hours later or a day later, they announced that they are terminating almost everybody who is still a member of the XFL. And the only people around are the heads, the people who need to be there to finalize the shutdown, and then everyone will be terminated. Coaches, medical people, every single person who was involved is shut down. Of course, the biggest reason about this is the fact that they needed a full season in. They could not, the XFL had a hard chance of survival without ticket sales, without viewership, without everything that was going on. They were doing great. If you look at the numbers, yes, the numbers were going down a little bit at a time. It wasn't a huge drop-off. But if you looked at the comparisons to other sports that were going on, yes, the Final Four was going to probably crush them because the Final Four, the NCAA tournament, was one of the biggest tournaments of the year. But they needed those ticket sales. They just opened up a couple days before they postponed the season and then canceled the season. They just started to open up the upper deck for the St. Louis Battlehawks, little by a time. But there was going to be a huge crowd, not the week that they shut down, but the week after, week 7. Would have been the biggest gate they had. They needed that revenue. They needed those ticket sales to come in. They needed those games to be played for them to survive. Also, WWE stock, when Vince McMahon sold his shares, when he sold the shares to fund the XFL, the WWE stock was between $70 and $94 a share. Today, or this past Friday, when it closed for the week, they were down to $34 a share. So, Vince McMahon, who does own the rights to the XFL, maybe, this is my thing, the XFL is not coming back next year. 2021's off the table. What if things rebound when all this is over with and Vince McMahon can get his stuff under his foot again? What if 2022, Vince is like, you know what? We're going to give it one more try. We had everything right. We had talent. We had great games. It's sad to say that the Alliance of American Football, which did everything wrong outside of maybe week 1 or week 2 where they had great football, the games just got worse and worse and worse. They had no funding. The guy they brought in only wanted to take part in being the chairman of the board so he could sneakily get in there and take the betting technology they had that tracked players and the ball, which is now in the NHL, by the way. So that's the only reason that dumbass was in there. But they lasted 8 weeks. The XFL doing everything right, had the money you needed, had the talent, had the games that were fantastic, had the rule innovations that people in the media were talking about every single week. Dead, not because of how mismanaged or poorly funded it was, but because of this global pandemic, which has gone way overblown and has taken away something that had so much promise. It had so much promise. If it made it through if this entire 10-week season would have happened, and we got to the playoffs and we crowned the first champion of the 2020 season, the XFL would have had a strong sense going into season 2, and things would have been fantastic. But Vince McMahon had no choice but to cut his losses and just leave it as it was. Now, it's going to suck to not see the XFL next year. I was hoping that we would be able to get a season 2. Yes, Vince McMahon had the money probably to fund a second season, but losing out on those 5 weeks and the TV and not having that deal, which people need to realize this. AEW was given a nice contract extension at the beginning of this year. 2 months before any of this happened, they got that nice contract extension. I think at the end of the year, actually, last year, which is going to put them to 2024, if I'm correct. And they are making money this year. Without that deal, they would be hemorrhaging a little bit of money and doing everything they can to eventually get that contract deal. When you start up a company, whether it's a small business, professional wrestling company, a football league, anything like this, your main, especially if it's a TV thing like this, if you're trying to start up a TV channel or like a sports league, the XFL or AEW, your goal is to get that long-term deal that is going to get the money to come in so you're not losing money anymore and you're making that money. AEW got that after 3 months. The XFL didn't even get a chance to finish a season, and it sucks. It just really, really sucks. If Vince McMahon would have talked about the XFL in 2017 and brought it back in 2019, we would be talking about XFL Season 2 being hurt, but the XFL Season 3 happening next year, no doubt about it. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen. The XFL is dead. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the XFL, and do you think that Vince McMahon would be crazy enough in about a year or two to try it again? The Revival are no more. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder are no more. It is Cash Wheeler and Dex Hardwood. I think it was Dex Hardwood. So the Revival have finished up on Thursday, I believe it was, on Friday. No, on Friday. We wake up, wrestling fans of all, at about 7, 8, or 9 o'clock in the morning. Posted, WWE has come to the terms of the immediate release of the Revival. We wish them well in their future endeavors. Which WWE for a while there, when they wouldn't release somebody, they didn't want future endeavor at all. I wonder what made them change their mind there. But immediate release means no 90-day no compete clause. However, if they sign with AEW, which is most likely the foregone conclusion where they're going to be going, AEW is taped weeks in advance. They are not taping again until the middle of May. Hopefully, most of this shit won't be happening anymore. So, even if the Revival are signed by AEW, unless they're doing something with the Hardy compound and doing something there to make their debut, we won't see the Revival on AEW television until middle of May, maybe June. So I think that is why WWE is like, you know what? We know they're going to go to AEW, but we know AEW is taped all the way to the middle of May. So even if we let them go now and let them sign with AEW, they won't be seen on AEW television for weeks. So if anybody remembers, I think it was 2017 or 2018, the Revival and the Young Bucks put out a tweet where it said, one day the Revival will face the Young Bucks and everybody will rejoice. Remember this tweet. Lo and behold, that is going to be happening soon. How soon? Only time will tell. The Revival are no more in WWE. They're not going to be the Revival. That is a WWE trademark name. Maybe they'll be FTR. Maybe they'll be Forever the Revival or something else. But Cash Wheeler and Dax Hardwood, if I'm correct, is the team names, are the two guys' names. Now, this one came on to my thing here. Charlotte Flair disagreed that Rhea Ripley needed to win more. It's not how you win the title, it's how you lose the title, but she says. We've only scratched the surface. You can't slay the dragon for the first night, then there's no story to tell. Of course she would disagree with this. Charlotte Flair would disagree. Why? Because Charlotte Flair is an egotistical, stupid bitch who thinks because her last name's Flair, everything should be handed to her on a silver platter. And mostly WWE has. The reason she says it doesn't matter how you win the title, it's how you lose the title. I'm sorry, Charlotte. Are you referring to the fact that the one night that the night that Rhea Ripley won the championship had more meaning to it than any title win in your entire WWE career? I'm even talking about when you won the NXT championship the first time in 2014, when you won a tournament with Ric Flair and a tournament against Natalya with Ric Flair and Bret Hart in each woman's corner. That didn't mean a damn thing in the end. You losing it to Sasha Banks in a fatal four-way. That didn't mean anything. Charlotte Flair has not had one meaningful win or loss in a title reign. Charlotte Flair has had no meaningful title reigns, and this one is not going to mean any better. Charlotte Flair had no business beating Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. There was a match done together because of the women's division being a complete garbage because they refused to build new stars outside of Charlotte, Becky, and outside of the Four Horsewomen, really. Outside of the Four Horsewomen, there are nobody else can match them. You have the two on Raw, you have the two on SmackDown. Yes, Charlotte Flair is going to continue to be on Raw, even though she's the NXT champion. So you have Becky and Charlotte on Raw, Bayley and Sasha Banks on SmackDown, and they are a cut above the rest. How do you create new stars? Have that new star beat a main roster star on the biggest show of the year. You know what would have happened for back, especially if there was fans in the crowd. If this match, it was a good match. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good match. What Sheeta and Britt Baker did on AEW television this week was better, but that's neither here nor there. But if Rhea Ripley wins that match, which by the way, Charlotte Flair, outside of last year where she didn't even get pinned conveniently, Charlotte Flair has not taken a pinfall or tapped out at WrestleMania since her WrestleMania debut, all the way back at WrestleMania 32. Tell me that isn't wrong. Anyway, instead they gave her the title to combat, and this is the truth. They gave Charlotte Flair, the only reason Charlotte Flair is your NXT Women's Champion is because somewhere in Vince McMahon's demented mind, Charlotte Flair is going to help him win this war against AEW. AEW suffered its first loss in the ratings this year by less than 100,000, less than 100. It was 623.50. It was like 300. It was 200. It was 623.50 to 200. 600. It was 662,050 versus 62,000. So AEW barely lost, but they won the demo. So what is Charlotte Flair going to do? When they had crowds in Full Sail and Charlotte Flair was there, AEW still kicked their asses, and Charlotte Flair did not do a damn thing for the ratings. They expect Charlotte Flair to do something for the ratings. having her on Raw and NXT in the same week is going to hurt that NXT more than anything. You're going to overexpose Charlotte Flair to where you're shoving her down people's throat more than you already do, and nobody's gonna fucking care about Charlotte Flair. She does nothing. Charlotte Flair does nothing but devalue the Women's Championship. There was no reason whatsoever for Charlotte Flair to win the NXT Women's Championship. Speaking of Women's Championships that should have been lost, there was no reason Becky Lynch should have won on Sunday. The reason and I still can't find the reason why Becky Lynch won on Sunday, on Saturday, whichever one it was last week. The fact that you had Shayna Baszler come up, eliminate 8 women in the Royal Rumble, only tied with Bianca Belair, who's on Monday Night Raw now, by the way, then go into the Elimination Chamber, kill 5 women on the Raw roster, to only get beat the same way Kairi Sane beat her at TakeOver Brooklyn 2 years ago. Does anybody else find a problem with that? And then they say, oh, well, having Becky Lynch beat her that way protected her. No, it made her look stupid. Because she's lost that way before, she should have been able to counter that. Just, no. Becky Lynch should have lost. And now, with the fact that the big, dumb idiot, Nia Jax, is coming back, and she squashed Deonna Purrazzo, which, by the way, Deonna Purrazzo has more talent in her wrestling boots than Nia Jax ever has. And by the way, Nia Jax comes out on Saturday and is like, oh, well, the next time Ronda Rousey comes back to WWE, I'm going to make her look. And WWE wants me to make her look good. It's the only way she can ever look good against me. I'm going to knock her the hell out. Bitch, please. You do realize that Ronda Rousey was holding herself back. Holding herself back because if she actually really wanted to, Ronda Rousey could break your arms, your legs, and break your face, and you wouldn't even know it was coming. So Nia Jax, sit your ass down, shut the fuck up, and be irrelevant as usual. Now with her coming back, my fear is this. They kept the title on Becky Lynch because they're going to give it to Nia Jax. Why? Because she's related to The Rock. Nia Jax was on some on Twitch with a couple people a couple days ago, saying how, and she was referencing Ronda Rousey, by the way, because when Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss had a couple matches leading up to Evolution, Alexa Bliss got a concussion. Then she got another one, and she had to miss Evolution as a participant. So Nia Jax apparently went to management and complained. And I find this funny from the queen of injuries, who roughs up anybody she's with, broke Becky Lynch's face. Why the fuck would WWE management want to listen to you? Oh, that's right, you're related to The Rock. Every time you know Nia Jax is going to be on a big pay-per-view and she's winning, you know when Nia Jax is winning, when they pan over and look, there's The Rock's mom, Ada Johnson. If they show her, look who's winning the match. Must be nice being able to flaunt your family's heritage to get your fucking way. Speaking of getting their way, this one got at me, and I believe this one had a hell of a scent. Goldberg, Shitberg, the former Universal Champion, who lost the title to Braun Strowman on Night 1 of PC Mania, right before that excellent Boneyard match. Apparently, and this hasn't been confirmed or denied by anybody, but apparently, the reason that Goldberg won over on The Fiend is, originally, it was going to be The Fiend going over on him, on Goldberg. Then Goldberg pushed to win the Universal Championship because he doesn't give a shit about the business. He wanted the kid superhero to get the big win, to conquer the villain. Are you fucking kidding me? You're 50 plus years old. Who looks at you as a superhero now? Is it because you wanted to please your little boy? Give me a fucking break. You took the Fiend and you buried the Fiend for your own selfish needs. Fuck you. It's absolutely ridiculous that The Fiend should have went over. The Fiend should have went into his match with John Cena, Firefly Funhouse or not, as the Universal Champion, beating him in whatever fucking match they were going to have for that Universal Championship, holding it to SummerSlam before eventually losing it to Roman Reigns, because that's where it's going anyway. Man, it sucks trying to talk for so long because you gotta drink something. But, so, The Fiend looking like less of a threat now, because some selfish old man didn't want his character damaged. He'd rather bury somebody else's character just because he doesn't want to do right by that character and get them over. Typical guy trying to hold on to the spotlight for as long as he can. Now, WrestleMania, we saw the return of the American Badass with some new Metallica music. Now, apparently, any other time, like when we see The Undertaker again, whether it's in a match, Hall of Fame, or whatever, it's the American Badass, Big Evil, whatever they want to go with this. That is fine. Honestly, I don't want to see The Undertaker, American Badass, or Dead Man Badass, or whatever, again, in a wrestling ring. If you're going to do The Undertaker, I want cinematic matches like that. Apparently, it took them 8 hours to film that match. Hey, it looked fantastic. It was great. It showed you that cinematic matches deserve to have a place in professional wrestling. If you want to have... And people were even calling for this. Now that they had this happen and they made this look as good as they did, people were calling for a Sting versus Undertaker match in a boneyard, junkyard, whatever type match you want to do, as long as it's cinematic where they go, I don't know. You tape it you film it for 8 hours and then you put it out there for people to watch. I'm fine with that. Because that's what they want to do. You can protect Sting, you can protect Undertaker from any massive injuries by doing that type of match. I'm fine with that. Mick Foley wants to do one of those too. I think it was Mick Foley I saw. But I could see that, and see the cinematic match that they did between The Undertaker and AJ Styles could do a lot for a lot of guys. Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, X-Pac, Billy, any of these guys, any of these legends they want to use, you throw them in a match that you took 8 hours to tape, it's going to make them look good, especially with the fact that it hides their weaknesses. And it hides the weaknesses of the talent, and it shows off their strengths, and that is fantastic. That's the way you want to do it. Now, I don't want to see one every single week, every single month of the year. WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble are acceptable. One every 4 months, every 3 months. That is fine. You're stretching it out. You're pulling it out. That is great. I have no problem with that. If you want to do a cinematic match at SummerSlam between The Undertaker and Sting, I'm all for it. Or Undertaker and somebody else, I'm all for it. If you want to do a rehash of Mick Foley versus The Undertaker, and that's all fine, but I don't think we want to see Mick Foley do that because he is not in the best shape of his life. If you want to do The Undertaker versus somebody, but you don't want to have The Undertaker in a match, I'm fine with that. I'm fine. That is fine. Undertaker in a match, 10-15 minute match inside the squared circle, no. That part of his career is over. I honestly think he would enjoy having these 15-20 minutes, these 10-15 minute matches that are done over 8 hours because it gives you a time to break, you can rest, it keeps his body from being overused, and it works out for him. That was fun. That was absolutely fun. The Firefly Funhouse, I don't know what the fuck to tell you that was just some crazy ass shit. But I saw a tweet about what it dealt with, what it was. It was John Cena's, the worst of John Cena. His debut, which was a failure. His rapping gimmick, which didn't go anywhere, apparently, or like his rap career not going over, like not taking off. I don't remember what the one in between that was, but like the NWO was him. What if he would have turned heel? Him. The Bray Wyatt thing with him swinging the chair would have been him cracking John cracking, if he would have cracked instead of like not breaking into 8 and actually going at Bray Wyatt 6 years ago. And of course, him disappearing was him retiring. It was a tweet. I can't remember the tweet. I don't have it queued up or anything. I'm very terrible at this. I need to work on that. But it was a very interesting tweet to see that those are what it is. It's the failures of John Cena, which yes, WWE has built John Cena up so much in the last 20 years, almost 18 years, that you forget that John Cena has had failures in his career. The Ruthless Aggression, that was a failure. Even if you go watch the Ruthless Aggression video, Enter John Cena, on the WWE Network, plug, he says that Ruthless Aggression was failure. Because if it wasn't for the rapper gimmick, he would have been fired. And hey, it happens. That just shows you that John Cena is a testament of you could be like everything could go well, or you could have things go your way, or everything could go the wrong way, and you might have all the talent in the world, you might have all the skill in the world, but if you ain't got that character to go out there and just wow the world, you're going to be fired. If John Cena doesn't come up with that rapping gimmick, if Stephanie McMahon wasn't on that bus ride or whatever ride it was, and she didn't hear him spitting bars back there with all and like just making like popping all the boys in the back, we might not have 12 years of John Cena as still the guy in WWE. Hey, it is what it is. It was a hell of a thing. Speaking of that NWO's portion, which is where it was if John Cena would have turned heel, WWE decides we're going to put out a small little video package, a nice little John Cena NWO style entrance theme. So if you want to go check that out, go to WWE's YouTube page. It's on there. It's just his old, it's his old entrance theme, or entrance video remixed into the NWO style. So there you go. Friday, WWE booked themselves into a corner. As we know, Wyatt won in the Firefly Funhouse. Braun Strowman won the Universal Championship as a replacement to Roman Reigns. We talked about this yesterday on the review for Friday Night SmackDown. And WWE decided they wanted to book themselves in the corner. Again, less than a week after WrestleMania. Because now it's going to be Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. As I mentioned last night, or yesterday, Braun Strowman versus The Fiend is going to end one of 2 or 3 ways. Especially if it happens at Money in the Bank. 1, there's a fuck finish, and there's a no contest win, in which they continue it at the next pay-per-view. 2, Braun Strowman beats The Fiend, and The Fiend is again a multi-time loser, and it's just Bray Wyatt being a multi-time loser. Or 3, Braun Strowman loses to Bray Wyatt, and he is nothing but a transitional champion. WWE is not going to win in any of those situations. I just hope we don't get a cage match or some kind of other match that's going to have Braun Strowman fighting The Fiend with a hammer, tears coming down his eyes as he hits the fucking hits a bunch of things that The Fiend's buried under, and the ref calls for the bell, pissing off the entire crowd, if there's a crowd by then. So WWE just cannot help themselves. Everything went as best as it could. We got through Monday. Aleister Black and Apollo Crews gave you a good match. We got through Wednesday. The fact that WWE still doesn't know the difference between what's like less is more is better than more than having way too much. Then we get to Friday, and they do the one thing they didn't need to do. God, I wish Randy Orton was on SmackDown, because Randy Orton, the next person The Fiend should be going after is Randy Orton. He took out Daniel Bryan. He's taken out Daniel Bryan. He took out The Miz. He took out John Cena. He needs to take out Randy Orton. Randy Orton took the WWE Championship away from him at WrestleMania a couple years ago. Randy Orton burned down Sister Abigail's house. Why is The Fiend? Oh, that's right, because Randy Orton's on Raw. Well, you know, it is what it is. WWE decides, well, we're going to go for Bray Wyatt, The Fiend versus Braun Strowman. Not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty. And hopefully, I would hope to see crowds by then, but WWE is going to be, like, if there's no crowds, WWE is going to have to be thankful that there isn't a crowd. Because if there was a crowd at Money in the Bank and they had this match, and The Fiend loses to him again, WWE would have a similar situation like they had at Hell in a Cell. And we all know how much WWE tried to distance themselves from Hell in a Cell after that. They just will never learn. They will never fucking learn. And I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them. But what are you going to do? It's just WWE not using their brains. Why in the hell would WWE go and do that? But it is what it is. We'll have to see where things go from here. WWE has a chance to do things right, and they screw up. I'm pretty sure you could take, like, yes, The Fiend just beat John Cena. The Fiend just got done with John Cena. It needs a big win. Braun Strowman just won the Universal Championship. He needs a big win at the next pay-per-view, or he's going to look really stupid losing the Universal Championship a month later. I just can't even with this company sometimes. I just can't even. So that is The Fiend and Bray Wyatt. It's just so much to wonder what WWE is going to do. Here's another thing that happened. On Friday, it was supposed to be taping 10 hours over the next 2 days, Friday and Saturday, of SmackDown. Sunday and Monday was supposed to be 10 hours. I'm sorry, not 10. 15 hours, right? Yeah, 15 hours of Monday Night Raw over 2 days. Can be done. And you can tape them in any fucking order you want to, simply because that's how it goes. Then Vince McMahon, out of the blue, decided, well, we're going to go back to being live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Why? Because of their contracts with Fox and USA. I mentioned this all on Saturday's show for SmackDown. Go check that out. Yes, I know. WWE have to deal with this. The pandemic thing is going on to everybody. The pandemic is something that WWE needs to take seriously, but they also have contracts to fulfill, and they're only supposedly allowed 3 tape shows for Raw and SmackDown. I don't know what they have for NXT. I don't know what their contract. No one even mentioned that. But WWE, and this is something else that came out yesterday, or while I'm recording this. Apparently, middle of last week, WWE sent out a memo to all of their talent that a member of none of the wrestlers caught this apparently, but one of the crew contracted COVID-19 during WrestleMania's taping, which was 2 weeks ago. So WWE kept that under wraps until this week. Now, I understand why they kept it under wraps, because if they would have said anything to their talent during the proceedings, during the tapings, WWE would have had a mass hysteria, a mass panic. Maybe this is why Roman didn't want to go there. Maybe they briefed Roman on this because they wanted to wonder if he wanted to be a part of the show still. And maybe that's why he went out, not because Miz got sick, maybe because this person contracted COVID-19, and if Roman Reigns is in this person's vicinity, he has the worst chance of catching this. Outside of a Vince McMahon who's 70 plus years old and is probably susceptible to this as much as Roman. But, yeah, WWE very carelessly did not inform their talent until recently. That's kind of shitty. And the fact that now they expect their talent to be there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for tapings for these shows. God. Typical WWE, though. Typical WWE. If you would have saw for AEW, Anna Jay, who was on AEW television 2 weeks ago, was signed by AEW, which is great. Hope that she gets to do a lot more for AEW. She had a hell of a match with Sheeta. I saw in the crowd Danny Jordan, who was a part of the Circle Squared, as a heel. Kind of funny they had her on the babyface side. Maybe she signed with AEW. That's going to be interesting. She had a hell of a match against somebody twice her size on that Circle Squared episode, so hope to see what their AEW is going to do there. The tag team, the tournament to crown the first ever TNT Championship will rage on this coming Wednesday. Also, Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho are your commentators again, coming up this coming Wednesday. Now, one thing I can't shit on about WWE is the fact that, yes, Money in the Bank's, where they're supposed to be having Money in the Bank, it got cut off. They are not going to this arena for Money in the Bank. They are going to the PC. The arena said, you know what, we can't do this because of this pandemic crap, we have to cancel. So, Money in the Bank is going to be happening at the PC. But it was announced that we were going to have 2 Money in the Bank qualifiers on SmackDown. I fully expect 2 Money in the Bank qualifiers on Raw this Monday. Hasn't been said yet, but that wouldn't surprise me. When was the last time WWE actually did Money in the Bank qualifiers? They didn't do it in 2017. Didn't do it in 2018. Sure as hell didn't do it last year. Except for I think the women did on the SmackDown side. I think they did there. So, WWE finally doing something right. Giving us Money in the Bank qualifiers. Something that should always be there. Elimination Chamber next year needs to have qualifiers. And you shouldn't just have a GM or a commentator come out and say, oh, well, the Money in the Bank ladder match coming up this Sunday. Here are your 6 men and women, the 6 men going into the men's Money in the Bank. They didn't qualify, but here you go. It's just good to see that they're doing Money in the Bank qualifiers. I know that they have a limited roster now because of what's going on. They're not going to be using everybody, even though they don't use everybody anyway. But WWE, yes, that member thing I talked about for a minute. WWE is lucky it wasn't a talent. They're lucky it wasn't a wrestler. One wrestler, Rey Mysterio, Dana Brooke, Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns, anybody, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, any of these talents test positive for COVID-19. WWE shut down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There was now, as we saw, Dana White, 249, got shut down because California stepped into Disney and ESPN and said, listen, shut them down, tell them to stand down, or there's going to be hell to pay. And they did. And he stepped down. He stood down because he wasn't going to be able to get the money he wasn't going to be able to sanction this fight and make the money that he can do. Now, all it's going to take for WWE to be shut down for a while is USA or Fox or a governor like somebody in Jacksonville, Florida, or Orlando, Florida, the mayor of Orlando, going to Fox, going to USA, and being like, tell this company to stand down, or we're going to sue or whatever. So Vince McMahon's got to be careful. One wrestler contracts COVID-19 over the next few weeks, then that's it. Game over. It's going to be game over, man. And here's the sad part for WWE. They need TV more now than they have ever needed TV. Because that's the only money coming in. They don't have ticket gates. They don't have ticket sales. Merch sales probably ain't doing shit because merch sales hardly do shit anyway. They only have what they're getting from their Raw, SmackDown, and NXT TV contracts. But hey, I understand it. They got to do what they got to do to try and get this company to stay afloat. Because if somehow, some way, something goes wrong in the USA Network and or USA or Fox just says, you know what, we're gonna hold that money back, and we're not gonna allow you to take this money anymore. We're not gonna give you the money because of X, Y, and Z. WWE could be in serious trouble. But hey, it is what it is. So, WrestleMania out in the books. Money in the Bank is up next. They are still advertising Money in the Bank, whether it's at the Performance Center or Timbuktu for all Vince McMahon cares. Money in the Bank is going to happen. My problem with Money in the Bank happening at the PC with 0 fans, 0 crowd, a closed set, is that 2 ladder matches in one show. Look at John Morrison versus Jimmy Uso versus Kofi Kingston. Those 3 guys went out there on Saturday and killed each other. And what happens in the end? What happens? It was a good match, but it's not going to be a match anybody's going to remember. It's not going to be in the annals of great ladder matches or even good ladder matches because you need a crowd for a ladder match. There is no reason to have a ladder match with no crowd, no audience. I don't care if you have 3 people on the left, 3 people on the right, and 3 people behind the fucking announce table making some noise. It'd be better. Look on Wednesday. Look on this past Wednesday. And the Wednesday before that with Billy Gunn and Austin Gunn, Jimmy Havoc, Danny Jordan. All these men and women out there. John Spears sitting there is like, impressed me when Michael Nakazawa and Kenny Omega were placing the best friends. He's like saying, somebody impressed me. Just making noise, going, oh, when they're fighting each other, and just making all the noise that a full crowd would make. It helps break up the sound of silence. Having a ladder match, you can't have those big spots that you would hit a big spot and then everybody stays dead for a bit because they want the crowd to eat it up. You can't be doing that. So how WWE is going to make AEW, make Money in the Bank, I don't know if I say AEW, but make Money in the Bank worth watching with 2 ladder matches and 0 crowd is beyond me. Even if the pandemic thing was over by Money in the Bank, it's still that even if the lockdown, the stay-at-home orders were lifted, everyone could go back to do whatever they want to do. That doesn't mean that WWE is going to have a crowd of 15,000 people, screaming fans, looking to watch TV or watch these wrestling matches. It's just not going to happen. Even if everything is done and everything's lifted in May, we probably won't see a crowd at a WWE event or an AEW event until June or July at the earliest. It's just, it sucks, but WWE needs to do something. Watching AEW and the good matches they've had, the great matches they've had, in front of, it's 10 to 15 people, I don't give a shit. It's better than nobody. It's way better than just hearing the wrestlers go out there and scream and yell and talk trash all the time, and it's just the same shit over and over again. I'm hoping this COVID-19 thing is over soon because wrestling is so hard to watch without a crowd. Plain and simple. I don't care if the crowd's cheering. I don't care if they're booing. I don't care if they're doing the conga line. I don't care if they're doing beach balls. As long as they're making some fucking noise, it's half the show. And yes, when we see a dead crowd and the crowd is dead, and you see us on Twitter being like, "Why is this crowd so dead? What the fuck?" It's so much better than hearing a body slam or some kind of big move that you would see somebody do. Having Drew McIntyre body slam the Big Show on Monday after the night after WrestleMania in the actual WrestleMania main event, and having no crowd there to react to that, it hurt that spot. If Drew McIntyre was on Monday Night Raw facing the Big Show in a match for the WWE Championship, and he picked that guy up, and there's 16, 17,000 people in the crowd as he's slamming him down, and they're going ballistic because he picked up the big guy and threw him down in a body slam, and then hit the Claymore kick for the win, and you hear the crowd going, 1, 2, 3. It would be so much better than what we saw on Monday. Why did they have the Big Show face Drew McIntyre on Monday? On the night after WrestleMania, during WrestleMania? Because they wanted to build Drew McIntyre up as this big, badass. It was 20 minutes, and that's the thing. They said that Drew McIntyre faced the Big Show 20 minutes after he faced Brock Lesnar. I call bullshit. Drew McIntyre did not look like he was out there 20 minutes after facing Brock Lesnar and getting an ass kicking. What it looks like they did to me is that you had Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar, go to the back, get a shower, go sit down, relax, and calm himself down, then go out with the WWE Championship around his waist with the plates and say, "Oh, it was 20 minutes," when it was probably in reality a couple hours. He's coming out there and he's come back out and he's like, "What's wrong with you? I just got done facing Brock Lesnar." Well, you sure as hell didn't look like it. But it wasn't apparently an advertisement for the Big show. Bullshit. It was. But because they wanted to make Drew McIntyre look like the big badass champion that we fans want him to be. Did it work? No. It's more like you were having the fans like on the edge of their seat, ready to take their remote and throw it at their monitor or their TV screen, whatever you were watching on. If they were watching it on their phone, smashing their phone when if Drew McIntyre would have lost that WWE Championship. I'm looking at Twitter when this is going on, and it's like, they better not do this. WWE better not. And people were just getting pissed off by the fucking minute because WWE put it out there that maybe the Big Show as WWE Champion sounded pretty nice to Vince McMahon. Because WWE has to be shitty like that. I could have seen them doing it too. I could honestly see WWE. Well, Big Show just got a brand new Netflix series. Big Show needs to be out there advertising. What would look good on somebody out there doing the rounds for their new Netflix TV show? Well, he's a professional wrestler. Let's give him the WWE Championship to go out there and advertise for us. I could have seen it happening. You could have seen it happening. We all could have seen it happening, but thankfully, it did not. But Vince McMahon was thinking about it. Vince McMahon is not going to have the Big Show go out there without the possibility that he could have won that match. And you know what? With the fact that they apparently taped 2 endings to every match at WrestleMania, 3 for the triple threat match, there was probably in the lost archive somewhere a video or the end of that match where instead of Drew McIntyre ducking the Claymore, ducking the WMD, his big hand punch, he hits the punch on Drew McIntyre. McIntyre goes down and the Big Show beats him. And I got a cold chill just thinking about that. Ugh. Nothing really else to talk about the fallout of WrestleMania. I mean, I'm still wondering what's going on with Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane, of course, was the woman to get beat in both the women's tag team title matches at WrestleMania and this past Wednesday, this Friday on SmackDown. There has been a lot of rumors going around that Kairi Sane and Io Shirai are going to be leaving WWE when their contracts come up and going back to Stardom. Yes, with the global pandemic bullshit we're going through right now, that might be hard to do. But with the fact that Kairi Sane took both pinfall losses to the tag team champions, makes me wonder if that's going to happen. Now, as we know, as I noted at the beginning of this, after the XFL stuff, the Revival is gone. They're done. Their contracts were coming up. Well, one was coming up soon. Scott Dawson's contract was coming up soon. Dash Wilder's was going to take a couple more months. However, WWE, and don't be like, oh well, the goodness of WWE's heart. If WWE had a good heart, they would have let these guys go when they asked for it 2 years ago, or when they asked for it last year at the beginning of the year, right before the Royal Rumble or right after the Royal Rumble. They had a match. They went backstage, did not get dressed to leave or anything, and they wanted their release right then and there. What did WWE do? Nah, mate, we're good. We're good. We're not going to let you go. Why? AEW just getting started, but AEW was not off the ground yet. AEW could have crashed and burned at Double or Nothing, and WWE would have had nothing to worry about. And of course, we know that didn't happen, and AEW is still alive and kicking right now. Speaking of Double or Nothing is probably not going to happen at the MGM Grand this year. Double or Nothing might be on a closed set, just like Money in the Bank, and Double or Nothing is probably going to be, if I was AEW, I would cancel Double or Nothing as a show if it's going to come down to that. If you can't do it with a crowd, if you can't do it as a pay-per-view, and instead, I would do a Fight for the Fallen or a Fight for type show where you can do a little telethon thing if you want to, have people donate or whatever to help relieve the COVID-19 pandemic. That's what I would do, and just say Double or Nothing isn't going to happen this year. We'll do a Double or Nothing next year, blah, 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 blah. And the TNT Championship can be up for grabs on BR Live, free on BR Live, like they did with Fyter Fest and like they did with Fight for the Fallen last year. If WWE and AEW close up shop or shut it down and ride out this wave, I think a lot of people are going to lose their fucking mind. Wrestling is it's the last thing standing. AEW and WWE are the last live entertainment standing. Yes, you have people doing concerts from their home, but that's not fun. Watching The Tonight Show or watching any of these other shows and having people do like Ellen or Kelly Clarkson or any of these other talk shows from people's homes, Tamron Hall, Jimmy Kimmel, any of these shows, and watching them from a Zoom, like a video camera, it's not fun. I don't want to sit there and watch like The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon from Jimmy Fallon's house with his kids and his wife. I don't want to see that. I want, and it's like if WWE can't go, well, we're going to do a stay-at-home thing where people can cut promos from their house. And all WWE, Raw, and SmackDown and NXT are going to be for the next 4 or 5 weeks is promos from people's houses. That would suck. But if WWE and AEW are forced to shut it down, outside of the NFL draft, which is going to be a virtual thing this year, there's going to be nothing for a while. So anybody just want to get away from the fear of the pandemic and all this bullshit they're making us go through, tune in to Raw, tune in to SmackDown, tune in to NXT or AEW, and show these things some love, because these two companies are going out there and giving you something, while others are just wondering, or just like, there's no NBA. There might not be an NBA. Speaking of the NBA, instead of, if they can come back to finish the season, fuck the regular season, give all 30 teams a spot in the playoffs this year. We're going to do a 30-man tournament. The top two teams in the East, the top team in the East and the West get a bye. and then you go single round. You go single eliminations in the first and second round, and then after that, when you get it down to the 16 that you would normally have in the playoffs, you go to best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, and there you go. Boom! You have yourselves an NBA champion. But that's just something I wanted to throw out there. It's just going to be one of those things that we're going to have to see how things go. WWE is walking a thin line. AEW's taped until May, like the middle of May or the end, towards the end of May. WWE is going to go live. One person on their roster tests positive for COVID-19, and I'm not talking about a crew member who's going to be like just putting the ring up, putting the ring down, and shit like that, and that's all they fucking do. I'm talking about like if a wrestler themselves comes down with this and it gets out there, that's game over for WWE. The AEW doesn't have to worry about that right now because they are taped again, like I said, till the 15th, I believe, of May. That's still a little bit over a month away. So they don't have to worry about it right now. WWE does. But it's just we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. I don't want to see AEW or WWE have to shut it down, because if they shut it down, we're fucking screwed. I mean, yes, there's some shows that have been filming, like, they have that new tag thing coming up for that Ultimate Tag with the Watt Brothers on Fox. You have a bunch of other like reality type shows and stuff and game shows that have been taped way before now. But it's like without sports, and I don't want to sit there on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon watching the great basketball games or the great hockey games or the great NASCAR races, like this tournament's finals here. It's like, no, I don't want to see any of that stuff because it just depresses me even more. I want live sports. I don't give a shit if you have to put NBA players in a fucking time capsule or whatever, or some kind of freeze thing to get them to, or put them in a bubble when they're not playing out on the courts. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if you have to use a fucking gym or an outdoor activity place. I don't care. I want some live sports because it's a damn shame that we had to sit here and not see any. Also, one more thing. If you haven't seen Being the Elite recently, the Young Bucks have put it out there to give you some wrestling on there. They had Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon versus SCU, and then the Young Bucks versus a couple jobbers. Next week, those jobbers are going to be taking on SCU, and who knows what else they're going to do, but that's awesome. That is great. It's something different. It's great to hear Excalibur commentating. I hope they can have somebody to commentate with him next week for that match. But it's just, that's good stuff, and it's just great for them to do that. But I'm gonna get out of here. I don't know what else to say. If you don't like my ramblings, I don't care. I'm doing this just because I have fun doing it. I hope to be back the next week for more. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I will see you guys Tuesday for Monday Night Raw and everything that goes on in the first set of live tapings after Wrestlemania. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.